Hi, welcome to the Improved Garage YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Okay, so next we're going to go on to the Ubiquiti stuff. Now, I've talked about Wi-Fi in another video. I'm not crazy about Ubiquiti in a business. I think for a house, it is appropriate. My big problem with Ubiquiti is that they market themselves as something that is designed for business, and they are not. They just aren't. If you're one of those IT companies that installs them, anyway, so at his house currently, there is a Ubiquiti USG, which is a Unifi security gateway. That's their router, their home router. It's a small box. He has an 8-port PoE switch. It's the 60 watt US 8-60W, and he has an 8-port non-PoE switch. The PoE switch is in his computer desk, and it runs his computer and connects to the Unifi security gateway, and it runs 2 wireless access points, one that's at his desk and one that's elsewhere in the house. There's a cable that runs back to his desk. It also feeds the other switch, which lives in his AV cabinet. That one is non-PoE, and that switch runs his Yamaha receiver, his Xbox One, his PlayStation 4, his smart TV, etc. So what I need to do is I need to take the internet from his house and I need to put it in his shed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be installing a bridge. So this is a wireless bridge. This is one half and the other half. So these devices talk to each other, and they wirelessly transmit the internet from one box to the other box, just like that. Now these can go miles. I have one on the roof of my house that goes 11 miles away to a tower that's on top of a mountain, and it delivers 100 megs of internet to my house. So they are capable of going extremely far distances and running a lot of throughput. The one on my house is $1,000. This is $60 or $100. I think they're $60. So there is an order of magnitude of difference, but Ubiquiti makes ones that are $1,000 too. So this is a bridge. We'll open this box up so you can see what's inside. And we have our bridge unit, and it is very basic. So Ubiquiti kind of makes everything build to or order piece by piece. It's all a la carte. So this doesn't come with a bunch of mounts in a giant box. Instead, it comes with no mount, and you figure out what mount you want and you order the mount, which makes them inexpensive because you're not throwing away a bunch of parts and they're not paying to ship things that you don't need. So this has a ridge on the back, which is designed for a pole. So if you had a pole on the side of your house, or like a satellite dish pole, J-pipe they're called, you would put this there, and you would use the included white zip tie to zip tie it to the wall. And that can be appropriate and works just fine. In this case, I'm mounting against a flat surface. So I ordered these quick mounts. There's 2 of them here. And the quick mount is designed to mount this thing to a flat surface. So the quick mount, I think, was like 20 or 30 bucks. I think they're 30 bucks, I want to say. So it comes with a couple pieces. There's this. There is a ball and another ball and a flat plate and this guy. So full disclosure, I've never used one of these before. We're going to figure it out together. All right, so this metal plate gets mounted to the house. Then, so we'll open this up and kind of see it. So this metal plate gets mounted to the house. Then this like indexes in there. That's actually pretty cool. So this like indexes in there like that. So this is bolted to the house, this goes there, so that's how you can adjust your angles. Then this goes in here like that. So that's how that sits. And this can be turned as needed with these indexes. So like that, for example. Then on the other side, there's this adjuster that has these balls. So there's two balls, and this one actually goes right on here. So that's it. So this mounts on the house. This gives you adjustment for angles and height, up, down, very basic, and that's what you end up with on the house. So it's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, but it's not terrible either. But it does give you some options for mounting, which is pretty cool. So we'll remove this mount. So the next thing that we need to talk about are these bridges and how we're going to power them. So you'll notice that in the box there was no power brick, no power adapter. And they're designed to be powered by Power over Ethernet, PoE. So normally you have a PoE switch, something like this Cisco unit that I have here, that outputs PoE. So this is how you power a wireless access point, for example. This will plug right into it and it'll power right up, no problem. For the bridges, the Ubiquiti bridges do not use standard PoE. So there's a standard to PoE, 802.3 AF or AT, which is a 48 volt output. And that 48 volt output runs normal wireless access points, it runs phones, it runs a variety of things in the corporate world that are powered by PoE. Ubiquiti's bridges use 24 volt PoE, which is non-standard. And they make special switches that work just with those, and they also make these special power injectors, PoE injectors, that are special for those. Or they make these adapters, INS-3AF-I-G. This is a PoE adapter that allows a Ubiquiti bridge to connect to a standard PoE switch, like this Cisco right here, and be powered without issue. So that's what we're going to be using in this case, one of these, so that I can have a PoE switch power both our wireless access points and these bridges. And like I mentioned earlier, in his desk currently, he has an 8-port Ubiquiti PoE switch, which can't power these currently. Needs these adapters in order to do it. So they're pretty simple: PoE in, PoE out. The PoE in is labeled 802.3 AF. On the other side, it says PoE out, 24 volt, 0.5 amp. So these will power those with standard PoE. Now they make these in indoor models and outdoor models. These are the indoor versions of them. And that's because they're going to be installed in the rack and in his cabinet, and the cable that's going to be running from them to the devices will be outdoor. But these will be actually installed indoors. The last thing that we have is this Unifi NanoHD. So in terms of Ubiquiti wireless access points, there are some models that I'm not crazy about, like the UAP-LRs and the UAP-LR-HDs and the UAP Outdoors. I've run into a lot of problems with them and them dying. The HD Nanos I like quite a bit. They are small and they can handle quite a bit of devices, and they work fairly well. So they come with a metal mount. They have a plastic mount on the back that is a quick release mount. They've got this rubberized texture and they're a smaller size. I think that they fit really well. You can turn off the lights or you can have the lights on. That's a programming setting. So there's a blue light and a ring around this when it's powered up. Unlike the bridge, there's actually some stuff in here. So this has a power adapter. It also has a PoE injector, power over Ethernet injector. This is a standard 48 volt PoE. So if I take that wireless access point and I plug into that Cisco switch, it'll light right up and it'll power on and everybody will be cool. So the idea is to make it so that our injector does, or our bridge does that too, and that they can both utilize the same PoE switch to power them. So I'll do a separate video on configuring the bridge. The Ubiquiti has something called Unifi. Unifi is their cloud controller, or their controller software. So normally you have a computer that's designated as a Unifi controller, or you use something called a Unifi Cloud Key, which is a little device that plugs in and it's a standalone controller. Or you use the Unifi Cloud, like you spin up a server in the cloud, or you use the Unifi Cloud software. That control is for creating wireless networks, for associating and deassociating clients, for viewing analytics about what people are doing and how they're connecting and what problems you're having and all of that stuff. The wireless bridges are not part of Unifi. So they are Ubiquiti, but they are standalone devices. They are configured by themselves and they don't connect to Unifi or the Unifi server. Now at his house right now he has a Unifi controller. Well, actually it's here, but he has a computer running a Unifi controller normally at his house that has all of the stuff for his other two wireless access points, his two switches, his Unifi security gateway. So I'll do a separate video on configuring these bridges in standalone mode and getting everything all set up so that they can communicate with each other effectively. We'll do that before they get installed on site. So. Test those out. This won't get configured until it's on site. It'll get adopted with its current controller and it'll get added to the network and it'll automatically configure itself.